All right. Howdy, Twitch. Howdy, YouTube. How you doing? How you feeling? How we doing today? Welcome back to the show. You got Jimmy Moreland here for you with Veteran Audio. I'm a voice talent, audiobook narrator, and music producer. And today on the show, we are back for some more auditions. We're going to be doing live, real voiceover auditions for real paying jobs on the biggest pay-to-play voiceover casting websites. That'll be voices.com, voice123.com. We'll take a look at the Audiobook Creation Exchange, ACX, see if there are any interesting audiobook auditions. However, we are so chock full of audiobook work right now that we're probably not going to do any of those ACX auditions, but we'll still look at it and we'll talk about it and see if any of those are worth doing. The meat of today's stream, though, will probably be doing actual audiobook narration, though. That's what I am up to my neck in. I am booked out through January with audiobook work, and it's a lot, but it's a good problem to have. I'm certainly not complaining. So I think what we're going to do today is going to use the voiceover work as sort of a warm-up for the meat of my actual workday, which will be audiobook narration. We'll be jumping in kind of in the middle of a really fun book that I'm working on right now. But I'll give you a little bit of a rundown on that when we get to it. But let's get to what we're really here for, and that is this: auditions. Over here on the left, I've got Pro Tools, and over here on the right, I've got our websites with all of our copy and all of our lovely stuff that we're going to be looking at today. So let's look at it. This is voices.com. Let's give it a refresh real quick. Now, I once again, I've taken a couple of days off from doing voiceover auditions because I've just been focused on the audiobook work. I've also had some music work that has been taking up a lot of time. But so some of these auditions are going to be crusty old. And so there's going to be, just dozens, and in some cases, probably over 100 people in line in front of us. And in those cases, we're not going to do the audition because it's going to be a waste of our time. Let's take a look at what we've got here, though. 39 people in line ahead of us. That's not insurmountable. Dry box powered by Boxed Up. Timing needs to match the scratch track on this edit as the edits are baked. Okay. I mean, I'm not going to do like an ADR level sync on an audition. Oh my God. All right. Okay. Whatever. It's great when a client includes a rough cut. Like, we love to see that. Let's go ahead and do this. 1, 2, 1, 2. Here we go. Renting or purchasing a container is now easier than ever before with Drybox powered by Boxed Up. Drybox, the premier container supplier in the United States, has partnered with Boxed Up to create a one-stop digital storefront to handle everything for you. The Boxed Up interface and an unnecessary comma there. For you. The Boxed Up interface and app allows you to easily view and select from the extensive Drybox for you. The Boxed Up interface and app allows you to easily view and select from the extensive Drybox container inventory. Schedule a delivery. Oh my God, these sentences, they're just trying to cram so much into a couple of sentences, and so you get these sentences that are like dependent clause upon dependent clause, lists going into lists, and it's a lot. For you. The Boxed Up interface and app allows you to easily view and select from the extensive Drybox container inventory, schedule delivery, and pay, all with... So, allows you to easily view and select from... So that's... Oh my God. So this list has how many items in it? So it's view and select. So like the first item in this list is kind of 2 items. Schedule delivery and pay, dependent clause, all with a few clicks on your device. Like, man, I want someone to diagram this sentence. Holy. For you. The boxed up interface and app allows you to easily view and select from the extensive dry box for you. The boxed up interface and app allows you to easily view and select from the extensive dry box container inventory. Schedule a delivery. That's a good edit point. Very loud truck driving by. Can you hear that? It's still going? Okay. Inventory, schedule a delivery, and pay, all with a few clicks on your device. Drybox, powered by Boxed Up. Renting or purchasing a container has never been easier. Okay. Real quick edit on this. Grabbing our little bit of room tone here. And here we go. And because we did punch and roll recording, that makes this edit super fast and easy. And it's extra fast because we don't even have to listen to what we've recorded because we are confident in our skills, confident in what we've done. We're just going to call this dry box. Oh, wait. That's not the right drive. We're on a new right. Pro Tools bounces. VO auditions. We filled up our last audition project. Pro Tools has a limit of 125 tracks, and we filled it up, or maybe it's 128. That makes more sense. But anyway, we filled it up, and so we're starting with a brand new file off of our template, and it's got out-of-date right folder. Let's see here. General response. 400 is the budget. Select the file. There it is. And it's uploading. There we go. All right. On that note, we're going to save as here. Save as. And where is it saving to? That is the correct folder. We're going to call this blank 3. Cool. All right. Ready to move on to the next one here. So, another American Red Cross job. These are great jobs. They've got very specific and also good budgets. It's quite a long project for the American Red Cross. It's telephone category, which makes me think that this 10 minutes is really like, are you reading 11 different scripts? Maybe. Or maybe 20 different scripts. Jesus. Anyway, but I'm only a 90% voice match because I do not have a telephone-specific demo. Someday I'll get around to making one. But yeah, for right now, nope. This one, only a 19% match, 19 responses in front of us for a 90% match. Really low budget. We're going to skip this one. This one, we tend to skip things from that client. Really low pay and not a great voice match. This one, though, there's 59 responses ahead of us in line, so we would be inclined to skip this one, except we've got this bright, shiny badge here, worked together previously. So this client and I have worked together, and so I see a shiny badge, and if I submit an audition, they will see a shiny badge. So even though there are 60 responses ahead of us in line, I'll stand out, and so I'm much more likely to be listened to. Let's see here. Yeah, really short. Ain't no reason not to. Let's do it. In today's rapidly changing financial landscape, investors face concerns. In today's rapidly changing financial landscape, investors face concerns such as inflationary pressure, Let's change the way I inflect that. Financial landscape. Investors face concerns such as inflationary pressure. Financial landscape. Investors face concerns such as inflationary pressure, geopolitical. Landscape. Investors, oh my God. Financial landscape. Investors face concerns such as, oh my God. I tried to do a good warm-up, but I'm just feeling like my mind-mouth connection isn't great right now. Like, buh, buh, buh. That's all right. We'll get into it. The landscape. Investors face concerns such as financial landscape. Investors face concerns such as inflationary pressure, geopolitical conflict, climate change, and an ever-shifting regulatory environment. I'm pretty sure I have read this exact copy before. I really do think I've read this before. It happens. Sometimes clients will recycle copy. And did I get it here? Looks like not. Maybe I got it here. Here we are having to listen because we stopped doing punch and roll. Sometimes I will stop doing punch and roll and I'll do a long roll if there's just one little phrase I can't get to, just so that I can get it quicker. Let's give him 2 takes. This is short enough, and I really want to lean into this spec here. Articulate, genuine, approachable. So I'm going to try to take off some of the corporate level type of delivery, which is kind of in my wheelhouse, and I'm going to try to be a little bit more approachable. Hello? Oh, God, is it? Okay. In today's rapidly changing financial landscape, investors face concerns such as inflationary pressure, geopolitical conflict, climate change, and an ever-shifting regulatory environment. Okay. Good. Come back here, and this edit point goes right there. Listen to it. Good. There we go. And we're going to turn on our D-click, bounce that out, and we're calling this, we're just going to call it the job number, 734206. And respond. Anytime I've got a repeat client, I'll start with hello again. And there we go. Quote, there. Send. All right, there goes another one. Okay, this client, once again, we're going to skip. This client, once again, we're going to skip. This client, we got another one, worked together previously. Looks like we're seeing a lot of those today. This client makes cool little games. Very fun style of game, and they do a really good job of providing you a lot of information as talent to make sure that you can get a good performance. Let's see here. This one, though, it seems like it's going to be a pretty short script. Yeah, it's going to be a really short script for a really low budget. So I think we'll skip this one. As much as we would, it's a great client to work for. Really enjoy working for them. What did I just do there? Why did I? Oh, okay, I'm only an 80% match, and that'll be because A, it's video games. I don't have a video games demo, so that knocks me down 10%. And then further, role and style here, characters and brave. You know, bummer. That's okay though. Like honestly, like this is a decent budget for something that is potentially that short. It sort of depends on, I guess, the studio and the level of distribution they expect with this game. But for a small indie developer, that does seem to be a good budget. Moving on, Goat voiceover. Goat man, raspy, older. Like, what does this mean? What does this mean? I just got to look at this. So, wait, are you the goat? Wait, no, not. Okay, there's a horse. Okay, wow. Okay. Huh. Okay. We're gonna skip this one. Just a little weird, and I don't want to spend a whole bunch of time figuring out what the hell is going on. Um, yeah, like this all seems fine. Uh, 15 seconds? All of this in 15 seconds? That is literally impossible. So I don't know what the hell you're talking about. 15 seconds. Uh, there. No, that's wrong. And yeah, $100. No, thank you. Something you got to remember on voices.com is whatever this number is, you got to take off 20%. Voices takes 20% off the top of anything you book. So keep that in mind. A 2-minute explainer. Smooth and flowy. 46 responses ahead of us in line. I don't know. I think in the interest of getting through this and moving on to our other work, we're going to skip this one for a $60 budget. Like, take that shit to Fiverr, dude. Dose Real Talks testing video, long form. Only a 90% match, and there are 93 responses ahead of us. We are a 90% match because this client has fucked up. Category, animation. I guarantee that that is not what this actually is. And in fact, just from the title, I know that this is not an animation category project. This is video narration. I mean, yeah, this is like real talks. Like, I don't know. I could rant forever and ever about how they miscategorize things, but we just want to move on. See, this they picked as a secondary category, animation. That's fine. Yeah, it does them no, like, just because your video is animated doesn't make it animation category. Just, yeah, I mean, just look at the script. We've all been there. You need to merge, but people in the other lane won't let you in. Obviously, this is not animation. It might be animated, but it's not animation. Television ad, like video narration, but television ad, sure. And that's why it's got a really good budget, because it is a television ad. Local in perpetuity, though, I don't think so. There needs to be a limit on that. Television ad in perpetuity. If you see this, that should set off alarm bells in your head. And this client should know better. Jenna with 72 reviews, I'm sorry, you should know better than to be posting jobs for television in perpetuity. I don't care what the market is, how local it is, and I don't care that it's I would actually say that this is not a niche category. Maybe you could argue that, like, these sort of public service type things don't care about conflicts. Like, obviously, if you book a spot for McDonald's, Burger King isn't going to hire you in the same market for television. Obviously. So maybe with PSAs and things like this, maybe conflict isn't such a thing, and so you're not being compensated extra for the opportunity cost of conflict. So maybe that's a justification here. Maybe that makes sense. I can't really speak to that directly. I don't have enough experience with this kind of thing directly. Maybe an agent would be the person to talk to about whether you are potentially conflicting yourself out of anything else. Like, I wouldn't think you'd have any problem with, booking something for AutoZone or Pep Boys or anything auto related. I think you'd probably. Point is, television in perpetuity, you should always be really, really skeptical. But again, I'm thinking you might be okay, just given the category here. But we're not going to do this because there are 111 people in line ahead of us. Like I said, we took a couple of days off, and so the jobs that we're looking at now are going to be old and crusty. Let's see here. This was posted more than 24 hours ago. That's why everyone has had a crack at these, so we're probably going to be skipping the rest of these and moving on to Voice123. 73 responses, nope. 49 responses for a pretty low budget, nope. 88 responses, nope. 100 responses, nope. 48 responses for... Who is this? This client's been posting a lot of stuff. Seem like fine jobs. Interesting video game work. 50 responses, no. Nice. Here's a nice demonstration of a very annoying bug, or just, I don't know if it's a bug. Like I think this is just how they've designed it, but in my opinion, it's a bug. It works exactly the opposite of how it should work. So most of these jobs say hiring. If you hover the hiring thing, it says client is accepting responses, and you can respond. When you hover this one is different. It says deciding. And when you hover it, it says client is no longer accepting responses and talent are being considered. And yet, I can still respond. Reply to job. I could send in a response. So, that's a lie. And the other thing, if you look at any of these other things and look at what I've been doing, I've been hitting this archive job button. That's how I can clear it out of my feed so my feed isn't super cluttered with a bunch of jobs that I can't or don't want to audition for. However, this job that's deciding, meaning why would you respond to a job where they're already deciding? Clearly, they've already got a short list, or maybe they've already sent out an offer and they're just waiting for the talent to respond. But if you look, the archive button is gone. So the least applicable, like the least useful thing in my entire feed is the one thing I cannot clear out. I can do nothing to clear this out. What the fuck, voices? Like, what are you doing? Why, when it goes from hiring to deciding, do we lose the ability to archive a job? So stupid. I swear, these websites, no one uses it. Like no one like on the software team like ever like logs in on the talent side. I think they must be just focused on client side, like acquisition of clients and stuff, which is great. Love to see the volume come through. But I don't think anyone ever, like, hey guys, like once a week, how about you log in on the client side and just see what the user experience is like on the talent side? Please? Just once a week, just see what it's like for talent to fucking use your website. So we can't clear that out. That's a bummer. Next, motion graphic explainer video. And they've miscategorized it as animation. We're going to report this one. We're going to report this one. Miscategorized not animation. Please give clients a pop-up when they select animation. All they have to do. It's the simplest. This is the other thing with not being able to archive the one job is annoying. But eventually that client will make a hiring decision and that job will go away on its own. This, however, is something that genuinely fucks with the effectiveness of the algorithm, and it hurts me as talent, and it hurts clients as well. This client, because they have miscategorized their job, they are getting an inappropriate selection of talent showing up algorithmically in their feed. There are talents who should be 100% voice matches in their feed that they're not seeing at 100%. And there are talent that should not be a 100% voice match showing up as such in their feed. Talent that should be a 90 or an 80 or lower percentage. But because they've made a mistake, because the voices.com interface sort of encourages them to make this mistake over and over and over again, it hurts the client. And again, it hurts. And all Voices has to do, so simple, is when they select animation from the drop down, just a quick, are you sure? Are you making like Disney, Looney Tunes, anime? Is that what your product is? Because if it isn't, this needs to be video narration. And so that's what this needs to be. It needs to be video narration. Because look at this. Meet Bob, a dishwasher manufacturer looking to distribute his product for sale across Canada. Did you know, obviously, this is not animation. It may be animated, but it's not fucking animation. Just auto body demo. Video narration. Look at that. It's appropriately categorized. Let's see here. This would be right up our alley, but because this is so old and crusty, God, this is 3 days old. They've got over 100 responses there. I don't know why they're waiting so long to make a hiring decision. Jesus. All right. We're probably going to clear out the rest of these. Yep, 100 responses for a $250 budget. Okay. All right. And that's everything. It's annoying that we can't clear this last one out, but that's what you get at voices.com. All right. For Voice123, we've got 13 jobs in the feed. The first thing I need to do here is I need to go through one by one and make sure that none of these jobs in the client information section, need to make sure that they're not showing their first and last name. On Voice123, clients have the option to have their name be like anonymized, to where it just says client number, yada, yada, yada. The vast majority of clients take that option, but sometimes they don't, and our friends at Voice123 have asked us to make sure that we're not showing that. So we're going to do that real quick. 2 more, and here we go. Okay. So everything's good to go. So first thing we like to do to just clear out some of these 13 jobs, I'm going to zoom in a little bit so you can see what I'm talking about. These 2 numbers here, 41 out of 40 proposals. This means that this client has requested to hear 40 proposals or auditions. They've already received 41, so they've received more than they have asked for. And so we assume that they're not going to listen to anything past this number. It would be a waste of our time to do an audition for a job that's over their amount of proposals. So we clear that one out. This one is right near the number, and it would be extremely annoying. Oh, at 40 out of 50, like we can be one of those last 2. We go over here and we do the audition, and then by the time we do our audition, render out the file, come over here, click it, and get ready to hit submit, 2 more people have gotten in just like right under the wire, and we get screwed. So if it's that close, we're going to clear it out as well. Okay, moving further down, 33 out of 25. Basically, anything that's over, we're going to clear out. And it's just an easy first pass. Just get rid of jobs that would be a waste of our time. We'll zoom in a little bit more here. Here we go. Next, I am going to get rid of anything that says looking for a quote. This, I think, is the single worst feature of Voice123. The fact that clients are allowed, that they're able to just say looking for a quote. This is further absolutely impossible to quote because we don't know the length of the project. So how are you going to quote an audiobook? And I don't even think, I'm not going to hit accept the invite. I don't even think there's any way to put $250 per finished hour. I don't think there's any way to quote it like that. Elevate your voiceover career at One Voice Conference USA 2024. Okay, maybe later. So this is maybe the worst I've ever seen as far as like just a complete lack of needed information. So we're gonna flag this job. One, looking for a quote is useless. I am not a mind reader. 2, client does not provide the word count. How can we quote an audiobook without knowing how long it is? Like, you know, I don't want to be rude, but are you a fucking idiot? This client, like, are you a fucking idiot? How? Like, yes, obviously they are. Like, okay, moving on though. You know, like, I would normally be like way like, you know, kinder. But I'm going to be canceling Voice123 when it comes time to bill again. I'm just not getting a return on my investment. And I've got too many frustrations with the way their algorithm works. It's a fun idea, but in practice, it works out to everyone's detriment, both clients and talent. They need to go back to the drawing board, and really like just the day to day, like what it's like. It's just this. It sucks. It sucks coming over to Voice123. There's a reason I do voices.com first. Okay, let's we're gonna skip around on the things that are available here. Let's look at this audiobook and see. We're gonna see about this thing. Oh my god. Okay. You might first go like, oh, budget $2,000. Oh, dollar signs in my eyeballs. I'm so excited. At least I don't even have to pull up the calculator. They're up front. Okay, this is a recording for a set of audiobooks. The whole set of books has 26 books in total. The total recording time is expected to be 30 hours. So those aren't books. Those are fucking pamphlets. So if you take this job, if you want to get into audiobooks, more power to you. Like, let's go. That's my main source of income. Once you hit 25 to 35 audiobooks in your portfolio, people start to take you seriously. That demonstrates a body of work. There's likely going to be a lot of repeat clients in that body of work. It sort of shows, just by having that number, it shows that you're a serious audiobook narrator. Unless it's some bullshit like this. When you tell someone, hey, I've done 34 audiobooks, and if later they go and look at your portfolio and those 34 audiobooks are fucking pamphlets, brochures, things that are under 1 hour each, they're going to go, oh, that narrator misrepresented their experience level. They misrepresented their portfolio to me by saying, I've got 34 audiobooks. So something like this, you can't do this project and expect to be able to tell people like, oh, I've done 26 audiobooks. No, you haven't. This is, yeah. I almost think that people should stop saying like, oh, I've done X amount of books, and you should just start saying how many hours. like how many finished hours do you have on Audible? Like, I think that would be useful. And so telling someone that you only have, that you have 30 hours on Audible, then like mentally they'd go like, okay, that's like anywhere from like 3 to 6 books. Fine. You're a newer narrator. Like after this project, you'd be like, okay, you're a newbie narrator, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But it just sort of gives people a realistic and correct idea of where you are in your audiobook narration career. Now, that's the first point, is that this is some bullshit. Next. Wait, rich emotions and sense of substitution? The fuck does that mean? Whatever, moving along from that. Budget. Now, we could have worked this out from knowing that the finished recording time is expected to be 30 hours, and the budget is $2,000. Budget, $50 to $60 US per finished hour of audio. Now, we got to bring up the calculator. We love to bring up the calculator. Where is it? Where's the calculator? Here it is. Okay, here's the calculator. So, let's see here. We're going to have to, let's see here, equals 300 times 30. This is an overflow thing, but it's correct. Budget 2,000. So we're doing some quick estimates here. Here's what's going on in the calculator. We start from the top, we work our way down. Total words, I just put in 280,000 because I did 9,300. That's about how many words are in an hour of audio. So I just did 9,300 times 30 because they're estimating 30 hours. So to get 30 hours, I just did 9,300 times 30, and that output 6 instead of 30. And that's just because the time style I've got in this doesn't handle anything over 24. And so it rolled it over. So this is 24 hours plus 6 hours, which is 30 hours, but it's displaying as 6. So that's very dumb and stupid, but it is accurate. It is correct. And I'm sure I could just go and find it, but I don't care. It's rare that anything is over 24 hours when I'm looking at this calculator. Anyway, moving on. Budget up to $2,000. And that gives us a per finished hour over what they've said. So even this might be a bit much. So maybe they're expecting people to quote lower, like, oh, you need to be competitive and you're going to quote 1,800 or maybe even lower. But let's just say it's 1,800 to give them the high range of what they really want. And newer narrators, the kind of narrators that would take this job. Oh, Burabadi, sorry I missed your comment there. How many hours do I have? I can actually show you. It's in this document. I have finished length. I have 290 hours on Audible. 290 hours. I am currently working on book number 35. And I'm booked out to 41 and really beyond that. Like I'm booked out to like 42 or 43 books. So a lot of things going on. Sorry I didn't see your comment right away. I got tunnel visioned on my audiobook calculator and my chat is over here. But yeah, there you go. I'm at 290 finished hours. That's on Audible, spread across currently 34 books. Yeah, USS Washington was the last book that went off. Right? Yeah, because currently I'm working on Eyes of the Sign, which is number 35. So there you go. But back to the audiobook rate calculator. Here's how this goes. So you're earning $60 per finished hour, and you go, oh, wow, that sounds so great. That's better money than I'd be earning anywhere else in my town. Not so fast. It takes more than 1 hour to produce one finished hour of audio. I am pretty fast. 2.5 is a good ballpark number for me for my ratio of hours of labor that it takes to produce one finished hour of audio. So 2.5 is what I use. But for a newer narrator, i.e. the kind of narrator who would take a job like this, if you've got a lot of audio experience and also, maybe some acting experience and so forth, maybe you could be at 5-1. But the numbers that I hear used for like newer narrators is between 6 and 10-1. So let's be optimistic and let's say 6-1. You're earning $10 an hour working on this project. $10 an hour. That is less than the minimum wage in most states. Many states anyway. I think the federal is like $7.25 or something horrible. But $10 an hour. Oh, and remember, ain't nobody withholding your taxes for you, so you got to withhold your own taxes. So after tax, you're making $8.20 an hour. Further, you got to figure this is a big project, even though it's split up weird. 30 hours, that's a lot, but you can't go like, well, I'm just going to knock it out in like 1 week, and that's great. That's great money for 1 week of work. You can't. There's a limit to the stamina of the human voice. You can't talk for that many hours a day without your voice giving out. Maybe you could do it for 1 day, but the next day, your voice is going to give out. You're going to have a hard time. There are a few rare monsters of stamina who can like go and go and go. Scott Brick is the one that comes to mind. He has narrated over 1,000 audiobooks, and the guy can narrate for 8 hours a day, 6 days a week. And he's been doing that for 20 years, and that's why he's a superstar. I can't really narrate more than, if I get up to, I'm actually talking for 4 hours, that's about my limit. I really start to do longer term damage to my voice if I talk for more than 4 hours. And so there's a limit to how many hours you can produce in a given week. And so even if you think, well, I'm going to hustle. Well, there's only so much you can hustle. And so all of this works out to where I've done some math. And so your monthly max income from a job like this is $200. Is that the monthly? Wait. That's the per finished hour times per finished hour per week possible. That's the ratio. 40 hours. I think that's the weekly, actually. That's weekly. Weekly. Yeah, $200 a week. Can you pay your bills on $200 a week? I can't. I don't think there's anywhere in the U.S. where you can live off of $800 a month. Not unless you have 10 roommates in a studio apartment. Like, nah. So, jobs like this, this is just, I pay $888 a year to be a member of Voice123. And what do they show me? Jobs that pay $10 an hour. This is some fucking bullshit is what this is. Fiverr. Yeah. Like, I don't want to be like mean or sound like I'm ripping the individuals who work at Voice123, because they're very nice people. I've interacted with them. I know that they occasionally watch the stream. The individuals who work at Voice123 are very nice. They're doing the best that they can. But I don't begrudge Voices or Voice123 having an annual fee. I actually think it's good. I think that having a barrier to entry for voice talent, I think it's good because it keeps out the people who would just be like, oh, I saw a TikTok that said I could be a professional voice actor just by talking into my iPhone in my bathroom. Like, no, you can't. It's going to sound like dog shit. Go make your TikToks. It'll be fine. But if you want to do professional voice work, you need to be in a professionally treated space with professional equipment and have some professional training as well. And having a monetary barrier to entry sort of sets like a bare level of quality. Like if you can't afford a few $100 a year to be a member of a quality casting website, then you're probably not a professional to begin with. So let's assume that that's working as intended and every voice talent that comes to this website is a professional. It should work on the client side the same way. Otherwise, why are we coming here? There needs to be some kind of vetting on the client side. The money is what vets us as talent. And there's the algorithm or whatever, and it just becomes a game, a thing that you just like, you game it, and so it doesn't really. But the money is effective vetting. It keeps out the absolute, like it's mean, but it keeps out. I'll say it keeps out the absolute beginners, the people who don't know what they don't know, and that's great. So there's been vetting on the talent side, but there's no vetting on the client side. Clients can come and post bullshit projects like this one and the last one that I looked at. These bullshit projects that pay less than minimum wage, projects that don't, like, what are we paying for when we're seeing $50 per finished hour? What are we doing? Why am I paying $900 a year? I'm not anymore. That's for fucking sure. Fuck you, dude. Fuck you, Voice123. I'm sorry. Like, ban me from the site. I will not be surprised if that happens. Ban me from the site. Go ahead. Fuck you for showing these kind of things. Like, the fucking balls to just allow any jobs to come through without doing any vetting, any filtering. Like, it's fucking insulting. It's insulting. It feels like a bait and switch. Like, budget, $50. Like, I get stuff like this. Like, it's a spec commercial. Like, it's not actually going to air. No one's going to sell this. Like, it's for this person's portfolio. I get it. This is fine. That audiobook, someone's going to be selling that. Someone's going to be trying to make money off of your labor. Here's a link to the video with the AI voiceover. Like, whatever. But there actually is no link. Like, maybe they tried to put in a hyperlink, but guess what? Voice123 isn't going to support the hyperlink. And a file you can download for your own reel. Like, what are you talking about? What? None of that exists. I'm not going to be surprised if I don't have a single auditionable job here. I will not be surprised. Just, this is the value that you get from Voice123, folks. This is the value that you get. Okay. A koam. So, real quick tip for clients out there. If you have a product or service or company name that is at all questionable how you pronounce it, fucking give us a pronunciation guide. Let's look at the PDF, see if there's anything. Yeah, there's no pronunciation guide. No one knows how to say acoam, acoam. Like, no one knows how to say this. You haven't given us any indication. Also, I'm sorry, look at this writing. A tool frequently used isn't one that's in pristine condition. A tool put to good use has been dropped, splashed, scuffed, and covered in grit. It's just this opening sentence. A tool frequently used isn't one that's in pristine condition. Local recycling ad. Non-union, male adult. A reference could be Sylvester Stallone. Okay. Like, this is a maybe. Let's see here. Maybe we do this. Although, does it have to be a Canadian talent? Because they're paying out in Canadian dollars, CAD 400. Yeah, a year of usage in Nova Scotia. And it looks like just radio, not television. So here's the next thing that you have to start thinking about when you're on Voice123 is you have to consider the algorithm. Voice123, you live and die by the algorithm. And the algorithm applies to you. It sorts you based on how many times you get hired by a client. Obviously, that's good for you in the algorithm. And how many times your proposals, your auditions, get liked by clients. And clients tend to use the likes system as their way of shortlisting. And so that all makes sense. And in theory, that's going to work great. And what that means for clients, for talent rather, is that you have to be extremely cautious about what jobs you audition for. If this job was over on voices.com, where the same algorithmic thing isn't going on, 100%, I wouldn't think it twice about it. Decent budget. I, broadly speaking, fit the specs. Nice short copy. Absolutely, I would do it. But because it's Nova Scotia, that's making me think, like, are they going to see that I'm not Canadian and go, oh, well, we're not going to hire him. And therefore, and we're not even going to shortlist him because we're looking to hire a Canadian. And they just didn't say we're only looking to hire a Canadian. Like, I really do think that is a legitimate consideration here for this job. And so, like, if I do this job, and even if I was the best audition that they got, but they go, oh, but he's not Canadian, so we can't even consider him, so we're not going to shortlist him, we're not going to like his audition, I'm going to get hurt in the algorithm for doing this audition. So that really is what's in my head, and I really do think that that's where I am with this. I think maybe I don't do this. Although, honestly, at this point, I kind of don't care so much about the algorithm because record early August. What? Okay, whatever. Honestly, because I'm not going to be renewing Voice123, maybe I don't care so much about the algorithm. Let's fucking do it. What are we here for on this stream if we're not going to do any fucking auditions? Here we go. Ever wonder how powerful you are? Each year, 18 million glass bottles can be remade into new materials. 150 million plastic bottles will not end up in nature. 253 million aluminum cans can be recycled indefinitely. You can make all this happen just by returning your beverage containers to your local Enviro Depot. The power is in your hands. Recycle. Visit our website. Okay. We got that basically in one take. There's one spot that we're going to have to go through and make sure it looks like this. Let's listen to make sure, right? Let's give it a little bit more of a gap there. There we go. All right. Oops, not commit. Thank you. Active bounce. And we're calling this recycle. Accept the invite. Boom, 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 boom. Yep, sure. And here we go. All right. Back to projects. 3 left to look at. Call center. Caller to poet? Okay. This one's not for me. Moving on. Caller to Brad. Casual call to a bodybuilder about emotions and a call to an older gentleman about working out. Like, what? Ah, thanks, Giga Brad. That makes me feel better. You're a real bro. Like these are fun, I guess. Fun and funny, but no, we're like that. That's a quest to restore Typher. Typher is our male lead. Despite being a lead, he has very few overall lines, and thus is being offered at $100. Total content is under 10 minutes of actual narration time. Sorry, but like 10 minutes? And they're wanting to do all of this stuff. Nah, bro. Also, Scandinavian native person. That's not us to begin with, but like, bruh, like you're asking a lot. Like, and I always see like 16 people have like read those specs and read the budget and gone, yeah, I'm down. I don't know who. I guess some people are desperate. Like it feels bad to say it like that, but like, bruh, nah. I'm not about to work. It's less than 10 minutes of narration. Yeah, but you're going to work for hours and hours and hours going back and forth with that client to get them what they need. All for $100? Get the fuck out of here. Okay, audiobooks. We love audiobooks. Let's take a look here. We have seen everything from here down. El éxito, the success. So we've got 4 books here that are new to us that we have not seen. So let's take a look at them. Rise and Recovery, the spiritual path for healing addiction. We got an email. Let's take a look here. 6.2 hours. That's good. I had a sneaking suspicion that this might be a super, super short project, but it's not. It's a real length. Looking over here, they are looking for a female reader, so not us. I'm not seeing any red flags. Cover is nice and solid, looks good. It's actually kind of clever. The chain breaking and like it's turning into birds. That was pretty clever. Good job, guys. Some good information here, good notes here. Knowledge of yoga, helpful. Voice type, contralto. Interesting. Oh. So this looks like a great project. If you are a female reader with a lower voice, then there you go. Moving on, Banana Pants, a bonkers romantic comedy. I'd be curious to know if they're looking for dual narration. It says male. That does make me think that perhaps they've like already cast the female part and they're looking for the male reader. Maybe. Not sure. But whatever. Decent length, 6.5 hours. Looks like a solid project. I would imagine maybe this isn't true, but I would imagine that potentially this project has a pretty tight turnaround that they're hoping for. It is now July 19th. This book is at the very least, the ebook is being published on August 6th. So they may not necessarily want the audiobook to come out concurrently, simultaneously with the ebook, but obviously if you can make that happen, it's great. But it's might be a tight turnaround, so just keep that in mind if you're going to be taking a job like this. Right now, earlier this week, I did an audiobook audition, but I was like, I submitted it just because it's like a perfect project for me. It's a military memoir. Like that's the kind of thing I do all the time. And but I was like kind of hoping that the rights holder didn't go like, loved your audition, we'd love to book you. I was kind of like hoping that didn't happen, because then I'd have to go, cool, I can get to this in 2025. Because that's where I am right now. That's how far out I'm booking. But anyway, keep that in mind. Know your own schedule, know your own availability when you're looking at jobs, and just sort of keep that in mind for weird stuff like this. If the publication date hasn't happened yet, that means that's when the ebook is going to publish. And just keep in mind that the author/rights holder will likely be wanting to have the audiobook come out, if not simultaneously, then close to it. At this point, it would be virtually impossible to actually have it come out simultaneously. ACX takes about 10 days on their QA after you submit a final project. So if you back it out from August 6th, 10 days, that puts it at basically Friday the 26th. So even if you were hired today to do this book, you would have, you'd have less than a week to get this thing done. So is it going to happen? Maybe not. Okay, moving on. Freak Show, a reverse harem paranormal romance. If this is your kind of thing, then go for it. They're looking for a team with a love for accents. So American accents, Slavic, British. Any other ones? So this is great. Like, this author / rights holder has given a lot of good info to really make sure that narrators can have an informed approach. It's 18 plus, so it's going to be probably a bit graphic. But if reading this kind of stuff is your thing, if you want to get into romance, that is not my thing. But if doing romance, and especially the steamier side of romance, is your thing, and if you have a team, then this seems like a solid project. A little short at 4.3 hours, but I think that romance, especially the more niche romance stuff, they tend to be a little bit shorter, but these authors put out volume. Like this Crystal Ash, I bet if you look them up, I bet they've got just fucking tons of this stuff out there. And so if you've got a solid team and you can get the work together, you can probably build up a good pipeline of work. More of that. Okay. All right, moving on here. Diamond, the memoir of a lost daughter of Japan. So, pretty sure from the title that I am not the right narrator for this, but let's take a look at it. Accent Asian, other, gender female. So they are looking likely for someone who can authentically portray a Japanese woman. So, you may have guessed that is not me. I did live in Japan for a few years, and it was lovely. And I feel like I've got a pretty good grasp of Japanese pronunciation. The rules are actually pretty straightforward. This will have probably a whole lot more, though, because it is set in the Philippines, and that is tough pronunciation for me. because you've got all kinds of influence from Spanish and French, and then obviously the Filipino language. Like there's a lot going on there. So this is probably going to be like, memoirs can be tough. Well, I will say memoirs tend to be straightforward. Actually, they're usually written in the author's voice, even when they're quoting someone else. It's as though the author is telling the story, and so you tend not to do big accent work. But it seems like this, you might need to be able to do a little bit of it all. But really interesting project if you've got the skill set and if you've got the demographic bio, to authentically be able to play this character. In audiobooks, for traditional voiceover, authenticity is king. Like, especially nowadays. 30 years ago, that wasn't really the case. There were people doing lots of accents and putting on voices that maybe they shouldn't have, but whatever. Different time and place, and that's just sort of a historical oddity that we can all sort of like uncomfortably laugh about. Audiobooks, however, we're not just portraying one character. We're potentially portraying dozens and dozens of characters in a single book. So it's impossible for me to authentically represent every single character in a book. That's just crazy. Like, not every book can be multicast. And in fact, 95% of books are solo narration. And that's actually what, like, they've got data that shows that that's what listeners want. Listeners want one voice that they like. And so you do have to be delicate in your approach to certain accents. So if I'm narrating, your British Isles accents, a lot of your European accents and stuff, like, I'll go nuts. Whatever. I'll have fun with it. But if I'm narrating a black person, I'm not going to go nuts with that accent. I'm going to remain respectful. I'm going to remain true to the text, so long as there isn't anything so objectionable that would cause me to just turn the project down. But you have to meet the listener halfway. If you approach those kinds of accents with respect, then I think that the listener is going to give you credit for that. And everything will be fine. But that's just individual characters. But every book, like, the author has a voice. There is a broader point of view. And that is where the authentic casting needs to come into play. So if the main point of view, like the main protagonist, is an Asian woman, a Japanese woman, and obviously you're not going to cast me. Like, yeah, I'm an audiobook narrator. It's my job to embody all kinds of characters, but it would not be an appropriate casting decision on the part of the rights holder to cast me, and it would not be a good decision on my part to even audition for something like this. It would not be appropriate. So there you go. There's our DEI chat for today. We're done on the auditions front. That is it. We're going to move along into narration. And now I'm trying to decide if I want to narrate live on the stream. I feel like it keeps me on task, which is good. Keeps me from checking my phone and all that. But I'm not so sure. Let's take a look here. We can open the project. Maybe we'll do pickups or something like that. Maybe I'll do that. Maybe I'll do pickups live on the stream. Yeah, let's do that. So, in this audiobook, I'll go ahead and open the project. Open Eyes of the Sign. In this audiobook, we'll do some proofing down here first. I've narrated the first 16 chapters, and I've submitted those chapters to Positron. That's what this website is, Positron. Positron is my proofing program. Positron will, basically what it does is you upload the audio and you upload the script, and it like listens to your audio while it reads the script, and it compares the two. Did you say the words that are in the script accurately? And if there's any discrepancies, if you switched two words around, or if you mispronounced a word or whatever, it'll flag those and generate a nice little easy report for you. So what we're going to do, we briefly need to do this, and then come back to use my handy shortcut here, and then this. So what we've done, we've narrated the first 16 chapters. Positron, I've already had it analyzed, and I've corrected chapter 1. So chapter 1 we don't have to worry about anymore. I've listened to the proofing. So Positron, we'll just jump into it so you can see what it does. So chapter 14, it has analyzed it, and it has determined that there are 63 errors in chapter 14. However, I know, because I just need to stop giving it extra tries here. Positron is they keep trying to do these noise detection things, but it's so aggressively calibrated that basically every time you take a breath, it detects it as a gasp or a wheeze. Now, I'm going to press play on this, and I want you to tell me if you think this is a gasp or a wheeze.
Waited to see if the better weather held. Kotalo glanced at...
Sounded pretty fucking normal to me. So it says right here, this feature is in beta testing. They've been beta testing this for over a year, and I've never once found it to be useful. Another noise detected gasp.
And Seb, standing out in the sunlight. The two were working...
It's just a normal breath. Like, I don't know what its criteria might be for detecting these noises, but it's bad. It's just not working. So we're going to filter out, and it's going to filter out all of the noise detection stuff. So we've gone from, what was it, 63 down to like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 potential mistakes. Now we can go through and see if these actually are mistakes or if they're false positives. Let's take a look. This one says, word inserted in.
The stranger could have fit in well within the temple's elite.
Yep, that's a mistake.
Larger than expected, since from the outside...
Yep, that's a mistake.
Blessing of Oshoni, plus mana reach.
That is fine. It has a hard time with certain symbols, but these symbols are fine. Let's listen to this one.
Coincidence, but Eli could have sworn there was a god...
That's a mistake.
Cultural bleed between Earth and Laura was...
Nope, that's okay. There we go. So from an initial estimate of 63, I only have 3 errors in that chapter. And it applied my filtering out of all the noise detection to the following 2 chapters. So instead of like 100 errors, now it thinks that it might be 10 errors in chapter 15 and 9 errors in chapter 16. So let's look at chapter 15. Look at all these filtered out noise detection things. Let's take a look at here. The woman's...
Hush. The woman's eyes quirked up.
Yep, that's wrong.
Slices of meat on a thin slice of bread.
I said slice instead of piece for some reason. Have to fix that.
About Baruta, but that name brings up another...
Very funny that, like...
into monsters that flood the nearest settlements as if...
Gotta fix that.
And his threat to the world of Laura.
All right.
Expression, he gestured at the floating image. Either kill or help Baruta.
That's fine.
I know I have never mentioned Dunmaru.
That's fine. If you find, in some of these, like this one here, if you find that, like, okay, this name here, this proper noun, Dunmaru, if you find that it keeps given you this false positive of like, oh, it thinks I said Don Morrow. If it keeps giving you, then you can filter that out. And sometimes, like if a name like really keeps giving you a false positive, yeah, filtering it out will save you some time. But here, we'll see. We'll see if later when you do that.
Forest. Seeing Dara's continued worry, he gave her a
Here's a false positive. It says I inserted a word to, but it's really just because I hit that D at the end of continued kind of hard.
Forest. Seeing Dara's continued worry, he gave her...
There's no 2 there, so that one's okay. There we go. There's chapter 15. Here.
With scattered trees under puffy white clouds.
Switch those words around for some reason.
Looked down at his body, though his eyes wouldn't listen to it.
This is a typo. This is something that I know that I marked in my copy of the book. It's incorrectly written, and normally I might just go whatever, I'm going to read it just how it is, but I have talked enough with this author that I know there's a level of comfort with making these kinds of decisions of like, hey, I know that this author meant this. We'll chat about it later, and if he pushes back and goes, no, I really mean it, I really want it to be like that, then fine, I'll go back and change it. But here, I'm saying that's a typo, and we're moving on.
In his peripheral, he could see feet creating...
Oops.
Dying. Eli's grandma had found him in that sad
Yeah, okay. Yeah, need to pick that up.
Fucking hell, as if I'm a hero for just surviving.
Yep, okay.
Quietly, he caught another muted sound of some... And then Head Oot, the lodge's proprietor.
That's correct, that's fine.
And Voided Bowels had Eli's nose wrinkling in disgust.
It detected Eli's as eel on his. No, I did not say eel on his. Okay, so I have let Positron check everything that I've recorded so far, and I have gone and double-checked Positron's work. And so I've got a whole bunch of pickups to... Now I have to do the actual work of recording the pickups. Now, you'll notice most of these, there's between 2 and 5, maybe 6 pickups on these. However, Chapter 2... 34 pickups in a single chapter. What the hell happened, Jimmy? Well, this author was basically doing like a mega rewrite edit run through the book, and I narrated an earlier draft. If this was more than one chapter, I would have to have a discussion with the author about extra pay, because you'll see 34 pickups. In most of these cases, I'm only rereading one word, but you'll see the process. It takes some time to find the spot, to do the recording, and then to do the edit to make sure that recording fits seamlessly into context. So it takes a fair bit of time, and if it's a situation where the author has made edits after something has been narrated, and therefore it's going to take a whole lot of extra time, that is something that you should be compensated extra for. In this case, however, it's not that there was a misunderstanding, but there was just a misalignment of schedules, if you will. And it's sort of this is my first time working with this particular author. I really get along well with them, and I want to make them happy. And so we're going to go ahead and just do this proofing. Now, we've got all these things here on Positron. We go up here to Import Export, and we go Proofing Report. Wait, no. Pickup Packet, right? Let's just click the button. Yeah, Pickup Packet, the online version, just so it shows up here so that you all can see it on the stream. Boom. And here it is. Total pickups, 94. Fully a third of those are just in Chapter 2. So we're going to go over here to Pro Tools. Chapter 2. In fact, well, yeah, for chapter 2, we'll keep it full screen here. Okay. And Positron does a really easy thing. They put the timestamp here, so that makes navigating to that right here really easy. 55.
He had a hard time seeing anything other than bits of gray mixed with the pitch black heavens.
So a lot of these pickups are going to be like, what the hell's going on? And it's just because, like I said, massive rewrites, not massive rewrites, but pretty extensive rewrites in some sections, like entire sentences are going to be wrong. And Positron does a really helpful thing to where, look, this is actually 2 pickups in one. This one is 3 pickups in one. So yeah, there's 34 pickups, but a lot of these are going to get little like mini groupings together to where I'm going to record it. I'm going to record these 3 in one take. So it's going to be like I only did 1 pickup. So it won't be quite as brutal as I thought it might be. So let's figure out where we're going to start on this here.
He had a hard time seeing anything other than bits of gray mixed.
I think I need to do this whole sentence again, yeah?
Looking up into the sky, he had a hard time seeing anything other than bits.
I can probably pick up at this time here. So we're gonna record right here.
Looking up into the sky, he had a hard time seeing anything other than bits of dark gray mixed within the pitch black heavens.
However, his eyes... Got to make sure you go into the next thing. Let's listen to this transition.
Looking up into the sky, he had a hard time seeing anything other than bits of dark gray mixed within the pitch black heavens. However, his eyes were slowly adjusting.
And then let's listen again and read carefully to make sure we haven't made another mistake.
Looking up into the sky, he had a hard time seeing anything other than bits of dark gray mixed within the pitch black heavens.
Cool. All right. Next, we're at 6 minutes and 6 seconds.
Vata chalach, they yelled, continuing to spout what sounded like gibberish. If it was a language, it was a very...
All right. Save, and now let's go.
To spout what sounded like gibberish. If it was a language... To spout what sounded like gibberish. If it was a language, it included a lot of back-of-the-throat noises involving a lot of phlegm and definitely wasn't one he recognized ever hearing before. There we go. Continuing to spout what sounded like gibberish. If it was a language, it included a lot of back-of-the-throat noises involving a lot of phlegm and definitely wasn't one he recognized ever hearing before.
Cool. Very easy. Very good. Boom. Boom. Next. 7. Let's see what that email is real quick. Is it a new... Oh, it's newvoices.com job. Let's take a look at what it is. Reload. Sourpuss, Gainesville. Is that Gainesville, Texas, or Florida? So there's this spirit called Sourpuss that's known, and apparently it's got a pre-unique... Interesting. Why does it say Gainesville? I don't understand that. Whatever. Let's do it. Let's go open recent here. Yes, save. And let's go for it. So there's this spirit called Sourpuss that is now available, and apparently... So there's this spirit called Sourpuss that is now available, and apparently it's got a pretty unique taste. So I'm about to try it. Bottoms up. That's real person believable conversational. Trying to step back from my corporate e-learning voice here. So there's this new spirit called Sourpuss that's now available, and apparently it's got a pretty unique taste. So I'm about to try it. Bottoms up. Bottoms up. Oh. Oh. Okay. It's sour, yeah.
Like having your favorite podcast interrupted by an ad for a drink you know nothing about, but sweeter. Yeah. But sweeter. Yeah. Sour is the new sweet, so give Sourpuss a shot. Sour is the new sweet, so give Sourpuss a shot. That's way too... Sour is the new sweet, so give Sourpuss a shot. Sour is the new sweet, so give Sourpuss a shot. So give Sourpuss a shot.
One of those is going to be fine. Copy this. Okay, did I clip here? No. Close, but I did not. Okay, let's see here.
Unique taste, so I'm about to try it. Bottoms up. Bottoms up. So I'm about to try it. Bottoms up.
Oh. Oh. Let's do this.
Try it. Bottoms up.
Oh. Okay. It's sour, like...
Yeah. Like having your favorite podcast interrupt...
It's sour, like...
Yeah. Like having your favorite podcast interrupted by an ad for a drink you know nothing about, but sweeter. Yeah. For a drink you know nothing about, but sweeter. Yeah. Sour is the new sweet. So...
Okay. Let's get all the way back to here.
Yeah. Sour is the new sweet. So give Sourpuss a shot. So give Sourpuss a shot.
I actually like that one. Okay. There we go. And... Sourpuss. Gainesville. Gainesville. They want to direct the session. Fine. Select. Boom. And then another job came in. Always 150. What is this? 150 years of Alberta beef. Beef.
We're celebrating 150 years of Alberta beef. Join us in honoring a legacy of great-tasting beef, exceptional quality, and our dedicated local producers.
Let's read this again.
50 years of Alberta beef. Join us in honoring a legacy of great-tasting beef, exceptional quality, and our dedicated local producers. See what we're cooking up at Always... Our dedicated local producers. See what we're... Our dedicated local producers. See what we're cooking up at alwaysalbertabeef.ca.
Okay. Go. I want to visit Alberta someday. I know that Albertans are making better Texas country than any Texans nowadays. Always 150. Always 150. You got Corblund, you got Coulter Wall out there making just killer country music. They want a directed session. Okay. There we go. Get that set up to go again, and we'll go back to our book. If you're curious, this book that we are doing pickups for right now is called Eyes of the Sign. And it's a really cool sort of combination of, I'd say the primary genre is like isekai, if you know what that is. Isekai is, it's not necessarily a new thing, but it's definitely been popularized in Japanese literature and video games and so forth. And that's basically you take someone from the real world and they get somehow transported into a fantasy setting with magic and all, different rules, different things are going on. And that person has to take their real world sensibilities and logic and experiences and gain an understanding of what the hell is going on in this new world and find their way. And it combines some really clever and interesting uses of like, obvious heavy references and drawing from like video game culture and concepts. And there's a bit of like post-apocalyptic stuff as far as like the flashbacks to the real world, even as the protagonist experiences his isekai journey. So it's been really fun. It's definitely my first time narrating an isekai story, but I'm a big fan of the subgenre because I play those games a lot. The Ni no Kuni video game series is a perfect example of isekai. Highly recommend those. If you like a classic RPG style of game, like the Dragon Quest, some of the older Final Fantasy games, the Ni no Kuni series, there's the Wrath of the White Witch, and another one. I prefer the first game, but that's just me. But yeah, really good games, and fun. It's just a fun, like, I like the idea that the Japanese in particular seem to be keen on, here's a framework, a story framework, or a character framework, and we're just going to explore that and just try to tell what is essentially the same story. We're going to tell it as many different ways as we can and try to just really squeeze out as much goodness out of this thing as we can. That's the whole concept of kabuki theater. Kabuki, there are 5 characters. That's it. Kabuki is 5 characters. And how many different stories can you tell with just 5 different characters? And so an entire art form is based on that. It's really interesting. Okay, where were we on this? 7, 11.
In a forest with nothing more than a silver bracelet. Still, he found himself searching.
Okay. Oop, let's record enable.
With nothing more than a silver bracelet. Regardless of how stupid it might be, he found himself searching the nearby ground for anything else he could use.
I just added the word else.
With nothing more than a silver bracelet. Regardless of how...
Actually, we need to do something real quick. This is the introduction of a big piece of text here. So we're actually going to drag in a 2-second section here so that we... actually, we don't want to do that. We're going to copy that and we're going to duplicate it. This will make sure that we are preserving an edit point here.
Forest with nothing more than a silver bracelet. Regardless of how stupid it might be, he found himself searching the nearby ground for anything he could use.
Oh, right. Okay, I know where this is in the story.
Forest with nothing more than a silver bracelet. Regardless of how stupid it might be, he found himself searching the nearby ground for anything he could use. Unfortunately, the area was...
There we go.
Forest with nothing more than a silver bracelet. Regardless of how stupid it might be, he found himself searching the nearby ground for anything he could use. Still, he found himself searching around on the nearby ground for anything he could use, seeing little beyond the massive trunk and roots. Unfortunately...
Wow, okay. Big edit there. This whole section disappears. And then we'll go like this.
Searching the nearby ground for anything he could use. Unfortunately, the area was...
There we go. What a big area. Whole edit there. And that clears out a couple of different things, right?
Bracelet. Regardless of how stupid it might be, he found himself searching the nearby ground for anything he could use. Unfortunately, the area was
That cleared out 3. They were just far enough away that it separated these into 3 different pickups, but we just knocked out all 3 of them in one take. Okay, next, 803.
His feet tried to slip out from under him. Down below, the psycho standing as his feet tried to slip out from under him. Down the grassy slope, the psycho was still standing beside the flat as his feet tried to slip out.
Looks like there's like 4 pickups right here. Okay, 3 will be done in this take.
As his feet tried to slip out from under him.
Down the grassy slope, the psycho was
as his feet tried to slip out from under him.
Down the grassy slope, the psycho was still standing beside the platform with their blade, beckoning to the heavens as the woman's struggle grew frantic. Messed up a part there, but the cut should happen before then, so we should be okay.
Adjusting as his feet tried to slip out from under him. Down the grassy slope, the psycho was still standing beside the platform with their blade, beckoning to the heavens as the woman's platform with their blade, beckoning to the heavens as the woman's still standing beside the platform with their blade, beckoning to the heavens as the woman's struggles grew frantic.
Good. Okay, next, 818. These times are going to get shifted now, though, since we've been doing it.
And unconsciously shifting around it until it felt comfortable.
Here we go. Let's record at this breath.
On his target, firmly gripping the rock.
His hand
On his target, firmly gripping the rock.
His hand unconsciously shifting it around until it felt comfortable. Guide's tracking program told...
Firmly gripping the rock, his hand unconsciously shifting it around until it felt comfortable. Guide's tracking program...
Weird little, mouth noise right here. There we go. Okay, next, 10.
Do anything. Open sesame? Eli prompted. He tried rubbing his fingers along...
Oh, wait, what? Oh, okay. Okay, strange.
Touching a finger to the metal didn't do anything. Open sesame? Eli prompted. Touching a finger to the metal didn't do anything.
Open sesame? Eli tried rubbing his fingers along the edge of the metal while looking for some hidden button, with no luck. If there was some release on the inside band, he couldn't find it. Do a cut in there somewhere. I like the way I said open sesame.
Didn't do anything.
Open sesame? Eli tried rubbing his fingers along the edge of the metal while looking for some hidden button, with no luck. If there was some release on the inside band, he couldn't find it. Maybe right here?
Release on the inside band, he couldn't find it. I'm stumped. Help? Eli frustratingly asked, feeling utterly stupid. Do you wish to access the equipped...
Okay, this one looks like we're going to knock out 5 in one go.
Still, it was also odd that Guide... At least Guide's augmented reality system seemed to be working just fine, even if this was one prompt he'd never seen before. That's the equipped dimensional storage. The surprising prompt appeared, floating a meter in front.
All right, here.
That's the equipped dimensional storage.
The surprising message floating a meter.
That's the equipped dimensional storage.
The surprising message floating a meter in front of Eli seemed to confirm...
That's the equipped dimensional storage.
The surprising message floating a meter in front of Eli seemed to confirm Guide's augmented reality systems were working just fine, though this wasn't a type he'd ever seen. It was also odd that Guide could recognize the bracelet. Listen.
Access the equipped dimensional storage.
The surprising message floating a meter in front of Eli seemed to confirm Guide's augmented reality systems were working just fine, though this wasn't a type he'd ever seen. It was also odd that... Is this it?
Still, it was also...
Okay, so maybe here.
It was also odd that Guide could recognize...
That guide.
It was also odd that Guide could recognize the bracelet, implying some troubling...
Okay, now on to 12:30. Oh, my neck is jacked up. Holy.
Reaching flat ground moments later. Eli moved toward the nearest standing stone.
Looks like we're going to knock out 3 in one go here.
Reaching flat ground moments later. Moving toward the nearest standing stone, Eli studied the thin white line that had appeared in the air. Reaching flat ground moments later. Moving toward the nearest standing...
Let's give myself...
standing stone, Eli studied the thin white line that had appeared in the air. The tracking program...
Okay.
Flat ground moments later. Moving toward the nearest standing stone, Eli studied the thin white line that had appeared in the air. The tracking program was making... appeared in the air. The tracking program was making...
Good, 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 good. Next. 1356.
The utter stillness of death that was hard to fake, especially as the body closest to him. Noting the utter stillness...
Other instead of utter here.
Into the motionless dark mounds, noting the utter stillness of death that was hard to fake.
It's going to be a really surgical cut here. Noting the... maybe here?
Dark mounds, noting the utter stillness of death.
Boom. Single word cut. Love to see it.
Dark mounds, noting the utter still...
A little bit more of a gap here.
Dark mounds, noting the utter stillness of death that was hard to...
That's it. Single word cut. Love it. All right, 1415.
Also dark, dried fruits that had cried black tears while their mouth was pulled back as if... The eyeballs were also dark.
Okay, this will knock out 2.
Out, leaving a husk behind. Their eyeballs were dark, dried fruits that had cried black tears while their mouth was pulling back as if trapped in a shout, the teeth almost protruding.
Kind of gross.
Leaving a husk behind. Their eyeballs were dark, dried fruits that had cried black tears while their mouth was pulling back as if trapped in a shout, the teeth almost protruding from withered gums.
Let's listen again.
Out, leaving a husk behind. Their eyeballs were dark, dried fruits that had cried black tears while their mouth was pulling back as if trapped in a shout.
Ah, see? Messed that up.
While their mouth was pulling back.
Pulled, not pulling. Pulled.
Cried black tears while their mouth was pulled back as if trapped in a shout, the teeth almost protruding from withered...
Okay.
Tears while their mouth was pulled back as if trapped in a shout, the teeth almost protruding from withered gums.
Okay. That's those 2 done. Now on to 1757. 1757. Here we go.
Hey, are you okay over there? He asked, trying to ignore the stupidity of his question.
Hey, you okay? Okay.
About a meter, but that still had to hurt. Hey, you okay over there? He asked, trying to ignore. That still had to hurt. Hey, you okay over there? He asked, trying to ignore the...
Good. Next, 1846.
When the woman didn't immediately bolt, Eli took a seat on the ground nearby, trying to ignore the uncomfortable dampness that soaked into his pants.
Where are we?
I think we can talk, he continued in a more normal tone. Whoever the hell they were. Can I do anything to help you? Are you hurt?
Okay, here we go.
I'm not with them, whoever the hell they were. Can I do anything to help? Are you hurt?
Cut here, cut here. Let's cut there and cut there.
Well, they were. Can I do anything to help? Are you hurt? When the
Forward to 1904.
Think we can talk, he continued in a more normal tone. I'm pretty sure they're all dead, but I haven't checked them all, though the ones I... He continued in a more normal tone. I'm pretty sure they're dead, but I haven't checked them all. He continued in a more normal tone. I'm pretty sure they're dead, but I haven't checked them all. I'm pretty sure they're dead, but I haven't checked them all, though the ones I looked at...
1941, so that'll be about right here.
But she still looked puzzled, with a hint of fear. I am gifted Duralis Iasoni, she announced, her voice rich and clear. I am gifted Duralis Iasoni, she announced.
Okay, this will knock out... Oh, God, this will knock out 4? Yeah.
I am gifted Duralis Iasoni, daughter of Wybert and Nizani, she announced in a rich and... I am gifted Duralis Iasoni, daughter... I am gifted Duralis Iasoni, daughter of Wybert and Nizani, she announced in a rich and clear voice.
We're actually going to keep a cut there.
Duralis Iasoni, daughter of Wybert and Nizani, she announced in a rich and clear voice. Cool, 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 Eli replied stupidly, and clear voice. Cool, 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 Eli replied stupidly, unsure what to make of her introduction. Cool, Eli replied stupidly, unsure of what to make of the woman. Cool, Eli replied stupidly, unsure what to make of the woman's introduction. Anyway... Eli replied stupidly, unsure what to make of the woman's introduction. Anyway, Eli replied...
Okay. I just about put my finger on my monitor to slide. I do not have a touchscreen monitor. Okay, zooming forward to 2104.
Duralis yelled, her back smacking hard against the side of the stone platform.
Yelp.
Duralis yelled, one of which suddenly appeared in his arms. Duralis yelped, her back smacking, one of which suddenly appeared in his arms. Duralis yelped, her back smacking hard against the side of the stone.
Probably fine here.
Suddenly appeared in his arms. Duralis yelped, her back smacking hard against... Duralis yelped, her back smacking hard against the...
Good. 24, 27. Where are we? 24, here we go.
Been almost magical how he'd thrown some weird, seemingly random ingredients together to produce a...
Okay.
It had been almost magical how he'd thrown... But the guy sure knew how to cook. It had been almost magical how he'd throw... But the guy sure knew how to cook. It had been almost magical how he'd throw some weird, seemingly random ingredients together to produce a damn good meal. Well, except for that.
Okay. Here we go.
Sure knew how to cook. It had been almost magical how he'd throw some weird, seemingly random ingredients together to produce a damn good meal. Well, except for that one mishap when Dennis misread a label, punch, kick, grapple, and more, turning their trips into the wilderness into some... Kick, grapple, and more, turning their trips in the wilderness into some actual training. The man was a... Grapple and more, turning their trips in the wilderness into some actual training. The man was a monster.
Okay. So, we have hit save. We have done 34 pickups on Chapter 2. Thankfully, from Chapter 3 on, we are in sync with the author, working off the same draft, if you will. But what we're going to do right now, actually, is we're going to bounce out chapter 2. And while this renders, it's going to take a minute, I'm going to take a stretch break. A stretch and an oxygen break. Because I've been shut up in this room for 2 hours now. So we're going to take a stretching and an oxygen break while this renders out. So we'll do this, and we'll put you on the BRB screen. So BRB. Abu. All right. We're back. I figure since we're here, I'm actually going to come off of the that screen real quick, just so that I'm not showing off too much of my business here. Let's go ahead and start this uploading. And looking at one more thing. Okay. So we're good here. Let's come back to Pro Tools view. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and upload chapter 2. Bounces, audiobooks, Eyes of the Sign, chapter 2, MP3. Now that I think of it, I think I need to re-upload chapter 1 as well. I feel like something happened in chapter 1. Like maybe I uploaded it without having... We're going to re-upload it just in case. Actually, no. Everything's good. False alarm. Okay. So that's chapter 2 done. Let's move on to chapter 3 and beyond. We're going to take all of these and we're going to make them all that tall. And that just makes things easier to move through. Okay. Moving on, let's go back to here. Chapter 3 at 255. So about right here.
Lingering. Then again, he didn't know the culture here, so it could have been natural or a product of whatever was translating her words.
Their words, so we're going to come here.
So it could have been natural or a product of whatever was translating their words. Is account...
damn it, I should have... Yeah, we're going to do that again and just roll right into the next one.
So it could have been natural or a product of whatever was... So it could have been natural or a product of whatever was translating their words. Is an accountant a title, a race? culture here, so it could have been natural or a product of whatever was translating their words. Is an accountant a title, a race? Perhaps it is a gift.
Okay. 518. Boo.
Detected. Eli blinked in surprise since he'd
Double mispronunciation. Surprised is what I said. Surprise.
Eli blinked in surprise.
There we go.
No, Mano detected. Eli blinked in surprise since he'd tested.
Good enough for that edit. Boom. Maybe right here.
Eli blinked in surprise since he'd tested.
Nope. Surprise. Maybe we put it right here.
Eli blinked in surprise since he'd
Damn it. Since he'd maybe like right here.
I blinked in surprise since he'd tested all.
Nope. Surprise since. Okay, maybe I can just put it right there.
Eli blinked in surprise since he'd
Damn it. Maybe here.
I blinked in surprise since he'd tested all of Guide.
Thank you. Holy. Okay, next. Weird. Okay, 14. 12, right? Come on now. 14.
Though extra mana generation didn't seem like.
Here we go.
So had a modifier that was a bit of a mystery. Though Anna had a modifier that was a bit of a mystery. Though extra mana regeneration had a modifier that was a bit of a mystery. Though extra mana regeneration didn't seem like a bad thing.
Okay.
Mystery, though extra mana regeneration didn't seem like a bad thing. Returning to his abilities, a bad thing. Returning to.
Okay, 1740 for the next one. 1740.
But then Eli's mind caught up with what he'd done, of him creating flame from nothing. Eli's mind caught up with what he'd done. Eli's mind caught up with what he'd done, of him creating fire from thin air, and his anger evaporated. Caught up with what he'd done, of him creating fire from thin air, and his anger evaporated. Guide.
Okay, there's 3 done. We're not going to bounce out these chapters just yet. We'll do the rest of them all in one go. It's just that I just really needed an oxygen break. Just needed to stand up and stretch a little bit. Jeez. The rest of these, we'll get those all done and out in one go. Okay. 4 just has one pickup at 347. 347.
Almost had a sneezing fit from poking his head inside one, the walls reeking as if someone had soaked them in a nasty perfume, and the others weren't any better, each stinking in their own way. Someone had soaked them in a nasty perfume, and the others weren't any better, with each stinking in their own way.
Eli had worked quickly. All right.
As if someone had soaked them in a nasty perfume, and the others weren't any better, with each stinking in their own way. Eli had worked.
Good, that's 4 done. Love it. 5. 31.
Eli was used to bad dreams after suffering them for as long as he could remember. Nightmare more intense than normal. Eli was used to bad dreams after suffering from them from as nightmare more intense than normal. Eli was used to bad dreams after suffering from them for as long as he could remember, but they were normally formless feelings.
Okay.
suffering from them for as long as he could remember, but they were ordinarily formless.
604.
Animal as tall as you, with dangerous horns. She straightened, throwing her shoulders back. A marta is a four-legged animal as tall as you and with dangerous horns, Doralis announced, her voice.
Maybe here?
Tall as you and with dangerous horns, Doralis announced, her voice full of confidence.
Okay. 855.
Thinking about the medicinal-flavored food, Eli pulled out one of the blue packages and used Identify. Mana candy. Mana candy. Item class. Uncommon. Effects. Mana candy. Item class. Uncommon. Effects. Class. Uncommon. Effects. Substantial increase.
Okay. Now we're on to 1326.
Other than the crazy dipshits back there? He threw a thumb over his shoulder at the... other than the crazy dipshits back there? He threw a thumb over a shoulder at the trail behind them.
He threw a thumb over a shoulder.
And the crazy dipshits back there? He threw a thumb over a shoulder at the trail behind them. Doralis nodded, her expression firming.
1524.
Even with the horror vibes, Eli couldn't deny the amazing reminding him of some hikes back home. Even with the horror vibes, Eli also couldn't deny the amazing smells of nature in this isolated setting. He'd always liked getting up.
All right. Back you up to there, and let's give it a listen.
Some hikes back home. Even with the horror vibes, Eli also couldn't deny the amazing smells of nature in this isolated setting. He'd always liked getting out.
Okay, that's 5 done. Chapter 6. What do we got? 201.
Between humans and beasts. Any one human could only come back as a human, and that was considered the pinnacle of the mortal.
Ah, got it. Okay, here we go.
Births between humans and beasts. Any one human could only come back as a human, as that was considered the pinnacle of the mortal world, and regression wasn't possible. Between humans and beasts. Any one human could only come back as a human, as that was considered the pinnacle of the mortal world, and regression wasn't possible. Animals were a lower form. For others, they can transform into a blending of human and beast, often with the strengths of more. Damn, that'll take with heightened senses and more. Damn, now that'll take some getting used to, Eli murmured somewhat. Damn, now that'll take some getting used to, Eli murmured somewhat distractedly.
A little shorter.
It'll take some getting used to, Eli murmured.
Good, all right. On to chapter 7. I'm gonna have to code yellow pretty soon. Holy. 614. About right here.
Pressure started to build in his face, like something was trying to escape out of the front of Eli's head.
Out the front.
A weird pressure started to build in his face, like something was trying to... A weird pressure started to build in his face. A weird pressure started to build in his face, like something was trying to escape out the front of Eli's head.
He did his best to ignore it. All right.
Pressure started to build in his face, like something was trying to escape out the front of Eli's head. He did his best to ignore...
Okay, now on to 901.
Eli figured he'd bought Doralis some time and turned his attention toward her wound, seeing a dark substance and turned his attention toward her wound, seeing the dark substance was concentrated within a
I'm sure I've got an edit point in there somewhere. Yeah, after concentrated. There it is.
Turned his attention toward her wound, seeing the dark substance was concentrated within a dark circular patch about it.
Perfect. 1442.
Few quick steps to get around the blocking bushes, he waved, letting her know where she was.
Of course.
On the blocking bushes, he waved, letting her...
Let's do that.
Steps to get around the blocking bushes, he waved, letting her know where he was. It took Doralis steps to get around the blocking bushes, he waved, letting her know where he was. It took Doralis
Okay, 1917.
I think we have a few more hours of sunlight before we need to set up another camp. So the question is, do we...
Perfect timing there.
I think we have a few more hours of sunlight before we need to set another camp. So the question is...
So let's bring this all the way to here. Maybe?
Hours of sunlight before we need to set another camp. So the question is, do we stay on this...
Good. Okay. That was 1917. Now let's go to 2207. Here.
With a thought. All right, it looks like we're staying on the trail. I took it, making it vanish with a thought. All right, it sounds like we're staying on the trail. I took it, making it vanish with a thought. All right, it sounds like we're staying on the trail. Standing up, Eli took it, making it vanish with a thought. All right, it sounds like we're staying on the trail. Standing up, he held out his hand.
Okay, on to chapter 8. We're schmoving. We've got a 711.
Wild torques. The larger male was crazy, repeatedly charging the slats of its prison until it...
Okay.
With 2 wild torques. The larger male was crazy, repeatedly charging against the slats of its prison until its head...
His, but we'll make a cut before them.
2 wild torques. The larger male was crazy, repeatedly charging against the slats...
Whoa. Charging. Whoa. That is a plosive that I don't think I've ever experienced. Charging became charging. Sandwich shahop?
With 2 wild torques. The larger male was crazy, repeatedly charging against the slats of its prison until its head was a bloody mess with one of its horns.
His. It's okay.
2 wild torques. The larger male was crazy, repeatedly charging against the slat...
I can't say charging. The fuck?
With 2 wild torques. The larger male was crazy, repeatedly charging against the slats of its prison until his head was a bloody mess with one of his horns.
All right.
2 wild torques. The larger male was crazy, repeatedly charging against the slats of its prison until his head was a bloody mess with one of his... Against the slats of its prison until his head was a bloody mess with one of his horns snapped off at the root. The larger male was crazy, repeatedly charging against the slats of its prison until his head was a bloody mess.
Okay. Now on to 1016. Here we go.
Dara quirked an eyebrow in question. I was walking happily into that ambush, but you were the one who noticed something was wrong. When Dara quirked an eyebrow in question. I was happily walking into that ambush, but you were the one who noticed something wrong. I think you have some sort of... Grinning when Dara quirked an eyebrow in question. I was happily walking into that ambush, but you were the one who noticed something wrong. I think you have some sort of extra sense. All right, 1758. Even if it wasn't all that funny. I'm pretty sure I am from a completely different world. I'll tell you about it someday, but... I am from a completely different world. I'll tell you more about it someday, but I think for now we just... I'm pretty sure I am from a completely different world. I'll tell you more about it someday, but I think for now we just focus on a small... Okay. Now on to 2019. Monster's eyes were supposed to be red, but what else could give glowing eyes? Thought the monster's eyes were supposed to be red, but what else could have glowing eyes within Eld Forest? Perhaps the demon... I'm going to reread that. Thought the monster's eyes were supposed to be red, but what else could have glowing eyes within Eld Forest? Perhaps the demon had an evil ally. Okay. Thought the monster's eyes were supposed to be red, but what else could have glowing eyes within Eld Forest? Perhaps the demon had an evil ally. Hours later, the gloom had deepened until Abaddon was stumbling across thick roots and tangling vines, making it feel the plants were like the plants were purposely trying to ensnare him. His harsh and tangling vines, making it feel like the plants were purposely trying to ensnare him. His harsh breaths barely carried over... Okay. 2052. Cacophony of the forest coming alive as his eyes frantically darted around for any safety, only to freeze as he noticed the tree limb growing almost directly across his path. Abaddon pulled a shaky hand almost directly across his path. Abaddon pulled a shaking hand away from his belt, trying to ignore his whimper as the end directly across his path. Abaddon pulled a shaking hand away from his belt, trying to ignore his whimper as the end of the twig. Very strange. What the hell? Pulled a shaking hand away from his belt. Pulled a shaking hand away from his belt, trying to ignore his whimper as the end of the twig fit perfectly against... Make a cut there, I'll be fine. Pulled a shaking hand away from his belt, trying to ignore his whimper as the end of the twig fit perfectly... Whoa, that was really strange there. I've never seen a buffer like that. Holy. End of the twig fit perfectly against the... Oh, Jesus. End of the twig fit perfectly against the limb's broken stub. End of the twig fit perfectly against the limb's broken stub. Across his path. Abaddon pulled a shaking hand away from his belt, trying to ignore his whimper as the end of the twig fit perfectly against the limbs. All right, good save. Moving on to chapter 9. 6:15. Oh, 6:15. Okay, here we go. How many are in chapter 9? All right, we've got... I think what we're going to do is, we got a code yellow. I think we're going to, on that note, also call the stream. I've got a whole hell of a lot of audiobook work still yet to do. I've got to finish all these pickups, and then I actually have to narrate. I haven't even narrated today, so we got to do that. But we did some fun stuff. We had some, we got some auditions. We bitched about voices.com and Voice123, so we got some good work done today. But yeah, we've got some more pickups to do, but you've seen the pickup process, what that whole thing looks like. So that's what audiobook pickups look like. And same thing for any other voiceover genre that you're going to have pickups, like your e-learning, mostly your longer form stuff where you're going to need to be replacing, like, hey, replace this, like a couple of words here, there's an error there, replace those. But you get to see how Positron works. Really, really useful, very valuable tool. If you want to check out Positron for your own work, send me a message before you sign up, because I can give you like an affiliate link that'll give you a few extra hours of free processing. With Positron, you pay for for an hour of like processing time. So basically, just calculate your finished hours, and for every one of those hours, that's what you're going to pay for it. It comes out to around like $10 an hour. There are different kinds of plans that like work in certain ways, but roughly speaking, just expect that you're going to pay about $10 per finished hour. And so you need to factor that into your own budgeting for when you're charging for stuff. So that's why if some horrible project is trying to pay you $50 per finished hour, well, who's going to proof that? Because if you're going to pay Positron to proof it, suddenly your $50 per finished hour has just gone down to $40 per finished hour. And it's, just super brutal. But at where I am, which is $250 per finished hour, that still makes it quite economical to use Positron. And it's so easy to use, doing the pickups, as you've seen, pretty easy and straightforward. And so I have no regrets. Like, I absolutely love using it. And if you want to use it, you can get, like I said, I think it's like 6. It's a good deal because it costs you nothing, and it's some free hours of processing. Shoot me a message and I'll shoot you a link so that you can do that, because I'm not paid or compensated by Positron. This is not an ad. But I do have an affiliate link that I can give you. But other than that, I hope you enjoyed the stream. I hope that your auditions are going well. If you want to pay me to talk for you, head over to veteranaudio.com. All the contact information is there so that we can start chatting about your project, and we can talk rates, and we can get it done. Get your project done. Meanwhile, please like, subscribe, do all the good stuff, and we'll see you. I might come back. I don't know about this evening necessarily, but we'll be back soon. We may be back before Monday, but for sure we'll be back on Monday doing some more auditions and perhaps some narrating. I'm wanting to get this book done Tuesday. That is an aggressive target. It's going to be brutal to try to get that much audio out, but that's just where I am nowadays. I need to get this stuff done. So hopefully we can get that done together one way or another. But thanks for stopping by, and we'll see you next time. Good luck with your auditions, and cheers.